There are places the map has forgotten, hidden corners of the earth where time moves more slowly, and nature still whispers ancient stories. In these sacred landscapes, mountains breathe, rivers remember, and silence speaks louder than words. Welcome to Time Travel 4K, where every frame is a doorway to wonder. Today, we're going off the beaten path, deep into the hearts of China's most mysterious and awe-inspiring natural wonders. From temples floating in the clouds to ancient valleys steeped in legend, from majestic mountain ranges to poetic rivers, these are places where beauty and spirit become one. Let the light guide you, let the mist reveal its story, and let your soul follow the call of the hidden world. Nestled quietly along the banks of the Tujiang River in western Hunan province, Phoenix ancient town feels like a forgotten chapter from a storybook, one that still lingers. Between misty rooftops and ancient stone bridges, here, time doesn't pass in hours but in footsteps, each echo on the cobbled alleys carrying the weight of centuries. Fog curls gently over gray tiled roofs as the sun rises, casting a golden hue on wooden stilt houses that seem to float above the river. These Diaojilu homes, with their elevated platforms and carved balconies, were built to withstand the flow of both water and time. Their design reflects the harmony between the people and their environment, a delicate dance of practicality and poetry that defines life in Fenghuang. The town is named after the mythical phoenix, a symbol of rebirth and immortality in Chinese culture. Local legend tells of two phoenixes flying over the region and pausing mid-flight, mesmerized by the beauty of the landscape. They circled above the hills and rivers, unwilling to leave. That legend breathes through every corner of the town. Whether you believe it or not, you'll find it hard to walk these streets without feeling a certain enchantment, like you've stepped into a realm suspended between earth and myth. Life here flows as gently as the river. Wooden boats glide past, their rowers often silent, letting the current guide them through a landscape that needs no words. From the river, you can see stone arches of ancient bridges reflected in the still water, forming perfect circles, portals into history. The most famous of them, the Rainbow Bridge, is a covered wooden corridor that connects both sides of the town. Its beams soaked in centuries of footsteps, laughter, and whispered promises. But Phoenix ancient town is not just picturesque, it is layered in history and cultural depth. It was once home to the Miao and Tujia ethnic minorities, whose customs and traditions still pulse through the rhythms of daily life. The people here wear their heritage with pride. You'll see it in the embroidery on traditional clothing, in silver jewelry that jingles with each movement, and in songs sung in dialects that carry ancient melodies passed down through generations. Walking deeper into the town, past the souvenir shops and tea houses, you'll find the former residence of Shen Kongwen, one of China's most beloved 20th century writers. Shen was born in Fenghuang, and his works often reflect the quiet beauty, rustic charm, and unchanging humanity of this place. Reading his words while standing before his modest home, with its creaky wooden floorboards and faded courtyard, connects you with not just a writer's memory, but with the emotional landscape that shaped him. And then, there's the smell of incense in the morning. It drifts up from small altars tucked between buildings, or from the old temples that still serve as spiritual centers of the community. These temples don't dominate the skyline, they hide in plain sight, waiting to be found. Inside, the flicker of candlelight glows on statues of deities, while red paper prayers hang delicately from walls and ceilings. Faith here is not loud, it is woven into everyday life, in quiet gestures and daily rituals. As night falls, the town transforms. Lanterns begin to glow, their red reflections dancing in the river. Music floats through the air, sometimes from a traditional string instrument, sometimes from a modern speaker. But even as the nightlife stirs, it doesn't overwhelm. Fenghuang holds its rhythm, unrushed and grounded. Locals sit by the river, playing cards or sipping tea, seemingly untouched by the passage of time. And yet, Fenghuang is not frozen in history. It has learned to embrace visitors, sometimes too warmly. Tourism has brought changes, neon lights here and there, a growing number of hotels, but the soul of the town endures. It survives in the quiet mornings, in the gentle flow of the river, in the laughter of children splashing near the docks, and in the early mist that rolls over the mountains. What makes this town truly remarkable is not just its architecture or its landscape, but its ability to make you feel. It's the kind of place where you slow down without realizing it, where you look twice at a doorway because it's framed by wood carved over 100 years ago, where the taste of rice wine lingers longer than expected, and even a bowl of handmade noodles tells a story. The Tujiang River remains the town's lifeline. Whether you follow it upstream to ancient city walls or downstream toward quieter neighborhoods, the river leads you not just through space, but through time. Along its banks, locals still wash clothes by hand, children skip stones across the surface, and elders tell stories that seem too magical to be true. But here, they might be in the end. Phoenix Ancient Town isn't just a destination, it's a feeling. A gentle reminder that not everything must move fast to be meaningful. That beauty can live in silence, in slowness, in the weight of old wood beneath your feet and the scent of rain on stone. It invites you not to see more, but to see deeper, to pause, to feel, and perhaps to carry a little of its stillness with you long after you've left. Zhangjiaji is a place that almost defies description, a surreal landscape where nature breaks free from convention. Rising from the earth like stone pillars suspended in a dream, these towering sandstone columns stretch hundreds of meters into the sky, creating a maze of vertical cliffs that seem to vanish into the clouds. On misty mornings, the view becomes almost otherworldly, as if you've stepped into a living painting. And indeed, this ancient land served as inspiration for the floating Hallelujah Mountains in James Cameron's Avatar. But long before Hollywood discovered it, Zhangjiaji had already captured the imagination of poets, monks, and travelers for centuries. Located in northern Hunan province, within the Wulingyuan scenic area, Zhangjiaji is a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned not just for its beauty, but for its geological uniqueness. Over 3,000 quartzite sandstone pillars and peaks cover the landscape, formed over millions of years through tectonic uplift and erosion. Unlike other karst formations found in China, Zhangjiaji's spires are not made of limestone, but of resilient sandstone, sharp, sheer, and ancient. Walking among them, you begin to feel small, humbled, and deeply connected to the earth. There's a silence here that isn't empty, it's full of wind rustling through pine trees growing on impossibly steep ledges, full of distant waterfalls echoing through stone canyons, full of legends whispered through time. One of the most iconic experiences here is stepping onto the Zhangjiajie glass bridge suspended across the Zhangjiajie Grand Canyon. At 430 meters long and 300 meters above the canyon floor, it's the world's longest and highest glass bridge. Standing on the transparent floor, your heart may race, not just from the height, but from the awe of the landscape surrounding you. The sensation is surreal. Beneath your feet, the gorge plunges into a lush, green abyss. Around you, pillar-like mountains stretch endlessly in all directions, shrouded in shifting mists. Fear and wonder blend into a single breathless emotion. Zhangjiajie isn't just about the adrenaline. It's a place where nature and spirituality merge. Deep within this forested wonderland is Tianzi Mountain, or Son of Heaven Mountain, named after a Tujia ethnic farmer who led a rebellion and claimed to be the heavenly prince. The peaks here are sharper, more clustered, and known for their sea of clouds, sunrise vistas, and winter snowfalls. Each season paints Tianzi with a new palette: fiery reds and golds in autumn, thick frost and stillness in winter, and vibrant green in spring. Another must-see is Yuanjiajie, a plateau area famous for the Avatar Hallelujah Mountain. Here, the stone spires are densely packed and draped in emerald vegetation. The Beilong Elevator, a feat of engineering and courage, whisks you 326 meters up the cliffside in under 2 minutes, revealing sweeping views that defy logic. Yuanjiajie's walkways hug the cliffs and offer panoramic views that seem to float above the forest. It's not hard to imagine the myths locals speak of mountain spirits that dwell here, protecting the balance between man and nature. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park is the heart of the region. It was China's first national forest park, established in 1982. Here, winding trails lead you through bamboo groves and moss-covered rocks. Monkeys leap from branch to branch overhead, seemingly oblivious to the human visitors. There's something meditative about wandering here, especially in quieter areas like the Golden Whipstream, a gentle path alongside a clear stream, flanked by towering cliffs. In summer, the canyon remains cool, the water crisp and refreshing, and butterflies dance between wildflowers. It's a place where the pace slows and the senses awaken. The human history of Zhangjiajie is as deep as its canyons. Indigenous Tujia and Miao minorities have lived in this region for centuries. Their traditions, architecture, and music are still alive today. Wooden stilt houses or dejiaojilu cling to mountainsides, and the haunting sound of the Lushan flute sometimes echoes through valleys during festivals. Local legends often tie closely to the land stories of immortals transforming into stone, or mountains formed from tears of separation. One such legend tells of a warrior who stood guard for his lover, waiting atop a cliff until he turned to stone. That formation is now known as the Lover's Peak. Whether you believe the tale or not, it adds to the emotional weight of the terrain. Zhangjiajie is not just visual, it's visceral. You don't just see it. You feel it in your chest, in your breath, in your memories long after you've left. What makes Zhangjiajie even more fascinating is its biodiversity. The region is home to rare plant species and endangered animals, including the Chinese giant salamander and the macaque monkey. Conservation efforts have grown in recent years as tourism has increased. And yet, despite the rise in visitor numbers, many parts of Zhangjiajie retain a sacred hush. Park officials have gone to great lengths to manage foot traffic and protect fragile ecosystems, ensuring that the natural harmony here isn't lost to progress. Even the weather feels alive here. Mists come and go without warning. 1 minute, you're standing in full sunlight. The next, fog curls around you like a veil. Locals believe the mist is the breath of the mountains, shifting to hide or reveal their secrets depending on who's looking. And perhaps that's true, because Zhangjiajie doesn't give itself away all at once. It reveals itself slowly, like a wise elder Sharing stories only when you're quiet enough to hear them. Visiting Zhangjiazi is more than checking off a travel destination. It's a return to something ancient within us, a longing for wonder, for silence, for connection to the raw and sacred. As you stand among its pillars, suspended between earth and sky, there's a moment where the world falls away. No words, no rush, just the sound of wind moving through stone. And in that stillness you understand, this is not just a place, it's a memory written into the land. Perched more than 2,000 meters above sea level in the eastern ranges of the Tanshan Mountains, Tianqi Lake, also known as Heavenly Lake, is one of the most breathtaking natural wonders in western China. Its name Tianqi means heavenly, pool, and from the moment you set eyes on its still sapphire waters, the name makes perfect sense. Cradled by snow-capped peaks that seem to lean in protectively, the lake mirrors the sky so perfectly that it often feels like a doorway between earth and heaven, surrounded by alpine forests, rugged cliffs, and highland meadows. Tianqi is more than a picturesque stop, it's a place that stirs the spirit. The air is crisp and cool, even in summer, carrying the scent of pine and the faintest trace of mountain herbs. Standing at the water's edge, you can hear the soft lapping of waves and the occasional call of native birds echoing across the lake. There's a stillness here that's hard to describe, as if time itself slows down to breathe more deeply. According to ancient legend, Tianqi was once the bathing place of a celestial fairy who descended from the heavens. Locals say she fell in love with the land and chose to remain here, her spirit becoming one with the lake. Even today, when mist curls over the surface and sunlight dances across the ripples, it's easy to see why this story has endured for generations. The lake does feel enchanted, like a place touched by something divine. Beyond its beauty and myth, Tianqi is also an important ecological zone. The lake is fed by melting snow from surrounding peaks and by underground springs, keeping the water both clear and cold year-round. The surrounding ecosystem supports rare alpine flora and fauna, including snow lotus, Tanshan spruce, and even elusive species like the snowcock and ibex. In recent years, conservation efforts have helped protect the fragile balance of this area, allowing visitors to experience its purity without disturbing its delicate rhythms. The journey to Tianqi Lake is an experience in itself. The road winds up through steep valleys and narrow gorges, offering panoramic views of towering rock formations and deep-cut rivers. As you ascend, you pass through changing zones of vegetation, from lowland grasslands to dense fir forests, and finally to the open alpine terrain. Each curve in the road brings a new perspective, a deeper inhale, and a growing sense of anticipation. By the time you reach the lake, you've already left the ordinary world far behind. One of the most memorable ways to explore the area is by hiking the surrounding trails. Some routes take you up to scenic viewpoints where the full scale of the lake reveals itself, a crescent of deep blue set against the rugged white teeth of the Bogda Peak Range. which rises to over 5,400 meters. On clear days, the contrast between sky, snow, and water is almost surreal. For the more adventurous, horseback rides are also available from local Kazakh herders, whose yurts dot the meadows nearby. These nomadic families have lived in harmony with the land for generations and often welcome visitors with warm milk tea and stories by the fire. Tianqi isn't just about nature. It's also a place of cultural intersection. The region of Xinjiang is home to a mix of ethnic groups, including Han Chinese, Kazakhs, and Uyghurs, and each brings its own traditions and ways of interpreting the landscape. For some, the lake is a site of meditation and spiritual clarity. For others, it's a sacred place where heaven and earth meet. Visitors might witness small offerings placed by stones near the water, part of local customs meant to honor the spirits of the land. These quiet gestures remind us that nature here is not just observed, it is revered. In winter, Tianqi transforms completely. The lake freezes over, and the surrounding slopes become a sparkling white canvas. Ice patterns form delicate lace across the surface, and the evergreens are dusted in snow. Few travelers venture here during the coldest months, but those who do are rewarded with a serenity that feels almost untouched by the modern world. The silence is deeper, the sky bluer, and the landscape more introspective. It's no surprise that poets and monks throughout Chinese history have made pilgrimages to places like this, seeking answers not in words, but in the spaces between them. For those looking to understand more than just the scenery, a visit to the nearby Tianqi Visitor Center offers insight into the lake's geology, hydrology, and cultural significance. Exhibits showcase the formation of the Tianshan Mountains, the role of glaciers in shaping the lake, and the biodiversity of the surrounding reserve. This context adds another layer to what your eyes already know. This is a rare and precious place. Even after leaving Tianqi, it lingers with you. Not just the images of turquoise water and majestic peaks, but the feeling it evokes. That quiet pull inside your chest when you witness something both vast and intimate at the same time. It's a feeling of belonging to the earth in a new way, of realizing that nature doesn't need to shout to be heard. Sometimes, its most powerful messages are whispered in the breeze that touches your cheek, or the mirror-still reflection of a cloud in a mountain lake. Longji's rice terraces are more than just agricultural marvels. They are living testaments to the enduring relationship between people and land. Carved into the mountainous slopes of Guangxi over 700 years ago by the Zhuang and Yao ethnic groups. Layer after layer, these terraces cascade down like giant emerald staircases, hugging the curves of the hills with an artistry that feels both deliberate and organic. They're often called the Dragon's Backbone, a name inspired by the undulating ridges that resemble the spines of slumbering mythical creatures. And standing before them, it's easy to understand why. In spring, the flooded fields shimmer like glass, catching the light of the sky and mirroring passing clouds. In summer, the terraces turn into vibrant green waves of rice, breathing life into the mountains. Autumn paints them gold, a harvest of sun and toil, while winter wraps the terraces in a hushed frost, turning them into a silver sculpture of frozen time. But beyond their beauty, the terraces tell a deeper story, one of patience, resilience, and deep-rooted harmony with nature. Imagine the generations of hands that built these terraces stone by stone, without machines, using only local wisdom and tools passed down through centuries. Each step reflects not just survival, but a deep cultural identity tied to the land. Here, farming is not merely labor, it is ceremony. Every planting, every harvest follows the rhythm of traditional festivals and ancestral customs that still pulse through the villages today. As I wandered through the narrow trails that cut through the terraces, I passed wooden stilt houses nestled in the folds of the hills. In the distance, I heard the soft clang of a farmer's hoe and the echoing laughter of children running along the dikes. These sounds blended seamlessly with the rustling leaves and birdsong, creating a melody that no city noise could ever mimic. Life here moves to a different tempo, gentler, slower, and more attuned to the breathing of the earth. During rice planting season, it's common to see entire families working together in the fields. Elderly women, with hands weathered by time, pass down planting techniques to their daughters. Children learn how to maintain the water levels between each terrace, a crucial task in this complex irrigation system that relies solely on gravity and the natural contours of the land. There is no waste, no excess. Everything in the terraces has its place, its purpose, just like every person in the community. The Longji terraces are also a masterpiece of ecological design. The ancient builders understood the mountains intimately. By adjusting the slopes, creating retaining walls, and building drainage systems, they transformed steep, erosion-prone land into productive fields that still thrive today with minimal environmental disruption. Even now, in an age of high-tech agriculture, the terraces remain functional, sustainable, and stunningly efficient. One of the most rewarding experiences here is simply observing the terraces shift throughout the day. At dawn, mist rolls in like drifting silk, veiling the landscape in a soft ethereal glow. As the sun rises, the terraces awaken with color and movement. Water glimmers, dragonflies dart between paddies, and the outlines of distant villages slowly come into focus. At dusk, golden light spills across the ridges, casting long shadows that stretch like ink strokes over the fields. It feels less like watching a place and more like witnessing a living canvas in motion. The people here are just as captivating as the landscape. The Zhuang and Yao cultures are rich with tradition, from their vibrant embroidered garments to their hospitality rituals. In the village of Ping'an, locals welcome visitors with rice wine served in bamboo cups and offer stories of their ancestors who first tamed these hills. Folk songs, often sung in ancient dialects, echo across the valley during festivals, and traditional dances tell tales of courtship, harvest, and spiritual connection. Cuisine here is simple but soulful. Bamboo-cooked rice, wild herbs, smoked meats, and fresh mountain vegetables are served with pride. Each bite carries the flavors of the region's soil, water, and care. And nothing pairs better with a meal than the view. A sweeping panorama of terraces rolling up beneath your feet like a dream unfurling. For photographers and hikers alike, the Longji rice terraces offer endless reward. Trails vary from gentle paths to steep, challenging climbs that lead to spectacular vantage points. The view from the top isn't just beautiful, it's humbling. From that height, you can see the full scale of human dedication etched into the earth. Every curve, every contour is a mark of perseverance and love for the land. Visiting the terraces also provides insight into a lifestyle that's increasingly rare in the modern world, one that respects natural limits, values interdependence, and holds deep reverence for heritage. There is a quiet dignity in the way these mountain communities live. They don't resist the passage of time, but they don't rush to leave tradition behind either. Instead, they walk the line in between gracefully, thoughtfully, and with deep respect for what came before. In many ways, the Longji Rice Terraces are more than just a destination. They are a dialogue between man and mountain, a conversation whispered through soil, water, and seed. Each step across those sunlit paths is a reminder that beauty doesn't always come from invention. Sometimes it comes from adaptation, from living slowly, from honoring the contours of nature rather than reshaping them. So while the terraces may look like art, and indeed, they are also alive. They breathe with the wind, glow with the seasons, and hold within them the legacy of a people who understood that to cultivate the land is to cultivate the soul. In the eastern province of Anhui, Huangshan, also known as the Yellow Mountain, rises like a living scroll painting from China's artistic and spiritual imagination. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is more than a mountain. It's a symbol of poetic beauty, cultural legacy, and deep philosophical reflection. The jagged granite peaks, twisted pines, and shifting seas of clouds have inspired countless generations of artists, poets, monks, and wanderers. Even if you've never heard its name, you've likely seen its likeness echoed in centuries of Chinese ink paintings and temple murals. As you ascend Huangshan, the first thing that strikes you isn't just the scenery, it's the silence. Not emptiness, but a rich, breathing quiet. The kind that makes you slow your step and really listen. And that silence is filled with subtle things. Wind curling through ancient pine branches, the soft splash of mist on stone, and far below, the murmur of streams carving through centuries of sediment. The mountain is famous for its four wonders: oddly shaped granite peaks, ancient pine trees, the mystical sea of clouds, and thermal hot springs. But no list of features can capture the emotional weight of walking through this sacred terrain. Each peak has a name that tells a story: Lotus Peak, Bright Summit, Celestial Capital. They stand like characters from a myth, veiled in shifting mists and bathed in golden morning light. At sunrise, the horizon turns a soft pink, then gold, and as the light breaks over the cliffs, the entire range begins to glow. This is the moment that has pulled so many travelers from their beds at 4 a.m., the dawn that makes the mountain feel like it's being born again. Every day. The pine trees here are nothing like the orderly rows you find in manicured forests. These are the legendary Huangshan pines, weather-beaten, growing straight out of sheer cliffs, their twisted limbs shaped by centuries of wind and fog. Some cling so precariously to the rocks you wonder how they've survived. But it's precisely this struggle that gives them their strength and their meaning. In Chinese culture, the pine represents resilience, longevity, and quiet wisdom. One of the most iconic is the welcoming guest pine, its broad arm outstretched like a host in eternal greeting. Thousands of tourists stop here, not just for a photo, but to absorb the symbolism of a tree that has stood through storms and snow. Always open, always welcoming. Huangshan's Sea of Clouds is another of its famous features, and it's not a poetic exaggeration. On misty mornings, clouds pool in the valleys like a living ocean, swirling and shifting between the peaks. It's a surreal sight, like standing on an island above the sky. The mountains rise and disappear in rhythm with the fog, revealing and concealing their secrets. Some say it feels like walking through a dream. Others compare it to drifting between two worlds, suspended in a place where time doesn't quite follow the same rules. But Huangshan is not just nature's masterpiece, it is deeply woven into the history and spiritual traditions of China. Since the Tang dynasty, Taoist monks and Buddhist pilgrims have made their way here, drawn by the mountain's stillness and its connection to the divine. You'll find ancient temples hidden among the cliffs, some perched impossibly on narrow ledges, others nestled in quiet forest clearings. One such place is the Banshan Temple, once a refuge for monks in retreat. Stepping into these spaces, you feel the energy shift. Candles flicker in the breeze, incense curls upward, and the sound of chanting blends with the wind. The boundary between the physical and spiritual becomes beautifully thin. Many believe that Huangshan is a natural portal for reflection and transformation. It's no surprise that Chinese poets like Li Bai and painters of the Song dynasty looked here for inspiration. The mountain seems to invite introspection, to face your smallness within something vast, and in doing so, feel deeply connected. As a guide, I've seen visitors fall into quiet contemplation just from standing at a ledge overlooking the clouds. No one tells them to be silent, it just happens. The trails themselves are marvels of engineering. Thousands of stone steps, hand-carved into the mountainside, snake through cliffs, forests, and along terrifying ridgelines. Some of these paths are centuries old, originally built by monks and travelers before the age of tourism. The climb is not easy, but the reward isn't just in the views. It's in the rhythm of your breath, the focus in each step, and the awareness that you are walking a path shaped by generations. In that effort, there is reverence. In winter, Huangshan transforms completely. Snow frosts the pine needles and blankets the peaks. Ice forms along waterfalls, and the clouds grow heavier, darker, adding a whole new layer of drama. Photographers and poets alike chase the snow scenes of Huangshan as if chasing a rare spirit, because it doesn't last long, and when it appears, it feels like the mountain is revealing one of its most guarded faces. Down below, the hot springs offer a warm counterpoint to the crisp air of the heights. Located at the foot of the mountain, the springs have been flowing for over a millennium. Ancient emperors and scholars bathed here, believing in the water's healing powers. Even now, after a long hike, a soak in the mineral-rich waters under a starlit sky feels not just restorative, but deeply symbolic. As if the mountain is giving something back for what you've offered in effort and humility. Even in today's world of drones and digital maps, Huangshan retains its mystery. It cannot be captured fully in photos or described adequately in words. Every traveler sees a different mountain. Some see solitude, others see challenge. Some feel inspired, others leave humbled. But all agree, Huangshan stays with you. Yandang Mountains, located in Zhejiang Province, stand as one of the most iconic geological and cultural treasures in eastern China. Renowned for their dramatic rock formations and lush natural surroundings, these mountains are a stunning example of a unique volcanic landform known as Dangsha. Formed over 120 million years ago during intense volcanic activity, the area showcases sheer cliffs, lofty peaks, waterfalls, and caves, all sculpted by time into mesmerizing shapes that inspire both awe and reverence. As one journeys into the Yandang Range, the first impression is often the towering silhouette of Lingfeng Peak, whose jagged spires resemble a group of monks in silent prayer. The name itself, Lingfeng, meaning spiritual peaks, captures the sacred, almost surreal presence of this natural wonder. At night, under soft lighting, these formations create an ethereal spectacle, blending shadow and stone in a way that feels otherworldly. It's no surprise that this landscape has been the subject of Chinese paintings and poetry for centuries, including works from the Tang and Song dynasties. Yandang's charm lies not only in its rugged grandeur, but also in the balance it strikes between natural beauty and spiritual tranquility. The mountains are dotted with ancient temples, some nestled into cliff faces, others perched near gurgling streams. Guanyan Temple, one of the oldest in the region, pays homage to the Bodhisattva of compassion and offers travelers a serene retreat from the outside world. As you climb toward the temple, the rhythmic chanting of monks and the scent of incense drifting through pine trees deepen the sense of timelessness and inner peace. Another highlight that captivates visitors is the Dalunku Waterfall, or Great Dragon Falls. This waterfall plunges over 190 feet from a cleft in the cliffs, roaring into a pool below with a force that can be heard long before it comes into view. Standing in its mist feels like being embraced by nature itself. Local legend claims that a dragon once lived in the pool, and the waterfall's strength is its breath, an enduring myth that speaks to how deeply these natural features are woven into regional folklore. UNESCO has recognized the Yandang Mountains as part of the Global Geoparks Network, a testament to both their geological significance and cultural value. While some visitors come for hiking or photography, others arrive seeking spiritual renewal or cultural immersion. The trails vary in difficulty, ranging from leisurely walks to steep, exhilarating ascents that reward hikers with panoramic views of layered ridgelines and mist-filled valleys. Traveling through Yandang also means engaging with the warmth of local life. The villages scattered around the base of the mountains offer simple yet flavorful Zhejiang cuisine. Freshwater fish, wild bamboo shoots, and handmade rice noodles are common staples. It's worth pausing in a family-run guest house to enjoy a bowl of steaming soup after a day of trekking, surrounded by locals eager to share stories of the mountains they call home. Ecologically, Yandang is also rich in biodiversity. The forests are home to over 1,300 species of plants and various rare birds and butterflies. In spring, wild rhododendrons bloom in bursts of pink and white, blanketing the hillsides. Autumn brings a cascade of golden leaves, transforming the entire region into a vibrant painting. For nature lovers, it's a year-round destination, with each season offering a distinct sensory experience. What sets Yandang apart from other mountain ranges in China is its dynamic combination of natural sculpture, human history, and spiritual significance. It's a place where geological time meets daily ritual, where travelers can feel both humbled by towering stone and uplifted by peaceful vistas. Whether you're an adventurer, a photographer, a spiritual seeker, or simply a curious traveler, the Yandang Mountains invite you to slow down and see the world through the lens of patience, wonder, and deep connection with nature. Stretching over 13,000 miles, the Great Wall of China winds across northern China like a colossal dragon carved into the earth. It's not just one wall, but rather a massive network of walls, watchtowers, and fortresses built over centuries by various dynasties, most notably the Qin, Han, and Ming. When visitors walk along its steep stone steps and gaze out at the vast horizon, it's easy to feel both awe and humility, as though standing in the shadow of time itself. Originally constructed to defend against nomadic tribes from the north, the Great Wall also served as a powerful symbol of Chinese unity, resilience, and strategic planning. Its most iconic sections, such as Beideling near Beijing, have been restored and are now accessible to millions of tourists each year. Walking through these parts, you can see the stone battlements, the fortified towers, and the strategic lookouts, where soldiers once stood guard, alert to any movement on the steppes beyond. But there's more to the wall than its military purpose. The Great Wall embodies the labor, sacrifice, and ingenuity of countless workers, from soldiers and peasants to scholars and craftsmen, who hauled stones, laid bricks, and chiseled pathways across mountains, rivers, and deserts. Historical records suggest that over 1 million people were involved in the construction during the Ming Dynasty alone. Many never returned home, and legends say their souls remain buried within the wall itself. If you venture beyond the popular tourist routes, such as to Jinshanling or Simitai, you'll encounter crumbling, unrestored segments overgrown with vegetation, weather-worn and silent. These parts feel raw and untouched, where every stone tells a story. They also reveal the sheer scale and difficulty of maintaining such a vast fortification in ancient times. The terrain here is rugged, and in some areas the wall climbs so steeply that it feels more like a staircase to the sky than a defensive barrier. Culturally, the Great Wall has always been more than just a wall. It's a national symbol, appearing in poems, paintings, and films as a metaphor for perseverance and strength. For many Chinese people, it's not just part of history, it's part of identity. Even today, locals describe the phrase, which roughly translates to, "He who has never been to the Great Wall is not a true man," reminding us of the wall's symbolic significance in Chinese character. From a geographical perspective, the wall spans a remarkable variety of landscapes, from the lush hills of Hebei to the arid sands of the Gobi Desert. Its construction materials reflect this diversity: stone and bricks in the east, tamped earth and wood in the west. Standing atop one of the wall's towers, you're treated to an ever-changing panorama: green valleys in spring, golden plains in autumn, and snow-draped ridges in winter. In my many visits, one of the most striking moments always comes in the early morning, when mist clings to the mountain ridges and the wall seems to dissolve into the clouds. It's quiet then, no crowds, no chatter, just wind brushing past the stones and the distant call of birds. It's in those moments that you can truly feel the spirit of the place. Interestingly, despite common myths, the Great Wall is not visible from space with the naked eye, at least no more than any other long man-made structure, but its magnitude, especially when experienced in person, is undeniable. And while some sections have eroded or been dismantled from materials in the past, major conservation efforts in recent decades have aimed to preserve what's left, balancing tourism with protection. For travelers, there's a section of the wall for every type of adventurer. The restored segments like Mutianyu offer cable cars and smooth paths, ideal for families and casual visitors. Meanwhile, areas like Jiangkou are wild and challenging, appealing to experienced hikers and photographers seeking dramatic vistas. Each section offers a different lens into the wall's complexity: architectural, historical, and emotional. Beyond its physical presence, the Great Wall stirs something deeper in those who walk it, a reflection on human ambition, the passage of time, and our connection to the past. It challenges you to think not only about emperors and wars, but about ordinary lives: the hands that stacked the bricks, the feet that marched its length, and the hearts that believed in what they were building. So while the Great Wall of China may no longer serve as a defense line, it continues to stand as a lasting testament to vision, endurance, and cultural legacy, not just for China, but for all humanity. The Forbidden City, located in the heart of Beijing, is one of the most iconic architectural and cultural landmarks in all of China. Once the imperial palace of the Ming and Qing dynasties, it served as the home of 24 emperors over nearly 500 years, from 1420 to 1912, covering approximately 180 acres and containing more than 980 surviving buildings. It is the largest ancient palatial structure in the world. As we walk through its grand gates, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale and historical gravity of this magnificent complex. This was more than just a royal residence. It was the center of political power, culture, and ceremony during the dynastic rule. The name Forbidden City comes from the fact that commoners were once prohibited from entering the grounds without special permission. It was, quite literally, a city within a city, enclosed by a towering wall and a wide moat, designed not just for protection but to symbolize authority and control. What makes this place truly remarkable is its architectural symmetry and symbolism. Every detail within the complex was designed to reflect cosmic order, Confucian hierarchy, and imperial supremacy. The layout follows a north-south axis, with the most important structures, such as the Hall of Supreme Harmony, placed along this central line. This hall, where emperors held grand ceremonies like coronations and imperial weddings, is the tallest building in the compound. Standing on a three-tiered marble terrace, color played a significant role in its design. You'll notice the golden rooftops, gold being the color of the emperor, and the crimson walls, symbolizing happiness and good fortune. The number 9, regarded as the most powerful single-digit number, is repeated frequently, from the 9 rows of nails on each gate to the alleged 9,999 rooms, though modern studies put the number closer to 8,700. Walking through the courtyards and corridors, one can almost hear the echo of history, the procession of royal guards, the hush of court officials, the rustle of silk robes. Imagine the complex web of palace life, where every gesture and conversation was steeped in etiquette, protocol, and often political intrigue. Life inside the Forbidden City wasn't always one of luxury and peace. It was also marked by strict discipline, isolation, and silent power struggles behind beautifully painted walls. In addition to the main halls, the inner court housed the emperor's living quarters and those of his empress and concubines. These private sections of the palace are more intimate and understated, but no less fascinating. Many stories of love, betrayal, and ambition unfolded within these very walled stories that later inspired countless novels, dramas, and films. Today, the Forbidden City is officially known as the Palace Museum, and it's one of the most visited museums in the world. It houses over 1.8 million artifacts, including paintings, ceramics, calligraphy, and jade treasures. These items are not only invaluable in terms of monetary worth, but also represent the continuity of Chinese artistry, philosophy, and civilization. For example, some of the finest blue and white porcelain from the Ming Dynasty can be found here, showcasing a level of craftsmanship that remains unmatched even today. One lesser-known yet fascinating aspect is the attention to feng shui principles in its design. The palace is flanked by auspicious elements: the Jingshan Hill to the north, believed to block evil spirits, and the open southern approach that invites prosperity. Even the placement of trees and water features followed symbolic intentions. For harmony and balance, visiting the Forbidden City isn't just about admiring grand halls or intricate carvings. It's about immersing yourself in a space where every stone and beam was touched by centuries of tradition, ambition, and transformation. It's where dynasties rose and fell, where emperors were crowned and dethroned, and where the pulse of imperial China once beat at its strongest. As a travel destination, the Forbidden City offers more than history. It's a journey through time and imagination. Whether you're a history buff, an architecture lover, or simply a curious traveler, there's a special kind of awe that comes with standing in the very same courtyards that once echoed with the footsteps of emperors. The palaces, timeless beauty and historical depth continue to inspire millions, reminding us of the complexity and richness of Chinese civilization. Nestled in the remote Altai region of Xinjiang, far from the bustle of China's megacities, lies Canna's Lake, a body of water so mystifying and picturesque that it's often compared to scenes from a dream. Shaped like an elegant S, and tucked between snow-capped peaks and thick boreal forests, Cannes isn't just a destination, it's an experience that connects nature, legend, and human curiosity in a way few places on Earth can. The lake itself stretches over 24 kilometers, with a depth reaching more than 180 meters in some places, making it the deepest freshwater lake in China. Its waters shift in color with the seasons, from bright turquoise in summer to a deep emerald in autumn, and even steel gray during overcast days. This striking transformation is due to glacial sediment carried down by the melting snowcaps, adding a surreal quality to the already enchanting landscape. As we travel along the winding trails surrounding the lake, one can't help but feel a sense of awe. The silence is profound, broken only by the whispering breeze, the rustling of pine needles, and the occasional cry of a golden eagle circling overhead. The air is crisp, scented with the essence of spruce and wildflowers, especially in late spring and early summer. Around you, dense forests of Siberian larch and birch trees stretch up the mountainsides, home to deer, foxes, and occasionally even snow leopards. Although sightings are rare, Canna's Lake is more than a feast for the eyes, it's also steeped in folklore. One of the most enduring legends speaks of a giant lake monster, described by locals as being over 10 meters long. Fishermen in the area have passed down stories of missing livestock and rippling wakes that appear suddenly on calm water. While no scientific evidence supports these claims, the myth adds a touch of mystery that delights visitors and stirs the imagination. The people who live here, the Tuwa and Kazakh ethnic minorities, are integral to the lake's charm. With their yurts, long-standing traditions, and warm hospitality, these communities offer a glimpse into a way of life that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. It's common to hear the soft strumming of the dombra, a traditional Kazakh instrument, echoing across the hills as locals gather in the evenings for song and dance. Their connection to the land is deeply spiritual, and guests are often invited to share milk tea or roasted lamb while listening to stories of ancestors who lived in harmony with these mountains. One of the best vantage points in the area is Guanyu Pavilion, perched high above the lake. From this spot, visitors can capture panoramic views of the valley below, where rivers carve gentle lines through the forest, and small wooden bridges connect paths once used by nomadic herders. On clear days, the reflection of the mountains in the lake's surface is so perfect it almost creates an optical illusion. For those seeking an active adventure, hiking trails abound, ranging from leisurely lakeside strolls to challenging ascents into the nearby alpine meadows. In autumn, the scenery becomes a canvas of gold, orange, and crimson as the foliage changes, drawing photographers from all over the world. Winter turns the region into a pristine snowscape, ideal for cross-country skiing or simply embracing the serene stillness. Canas is also a protected national nature reserve, which helps preserve its unique biodiversity and fragile ecosystems. Visitors are encouraged to respect conservation guidelines, stay on marked trails, avoid disturbing wildlife, and limit plastic waste. Sustainable tourism here isn't just encouraged. It's necessary to ensure this extraordinary place remains untouched for future generations. It's no wonder that Canas Lake has been referred to as China's Alps, or even compared to Switzerland's Lake Geneva. But while such comparisons are flattering, they don't quite do it justice. Canas is a place with its own identity, an intersection of cultures, climates, and stories that you truly have to witness to understand. It's a sanctuary for the soul, a perfect escape for those yearning for a deeper connection with nature. Soaring above the clouds in Yunnan Province, Yulong Snow Mountain, also known as Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, is a breathtaking natural wonder that combines geological drama, cultural richness, and ecological fragility into one unforgettable destination. Towering over 18,000 feet, 5,500 meters, it is the southernmost glacier in the Northern Hemisphere and a sacred symbol to the Naxi people, who believe the mountain holds the spirit of a warrior god. Shaped by tectonic uplift and carved by ancient ice, Yulong is more than just a backdrop, it's a living monument of stone and snow. Its 13 jagged peaks resemble a slumbering dragon from a distance, hence the name. The most famous peak, Shanzi-do, remains unclimbed due to its difficult terrain and the region's efforts to preserve its pristine condition. For the local Naxi people, climbing the peak is not just dangerous, it is considered spiritually disrespectful. One of the highlights for visitors is the Glacier Park, accessible via high-altitude cable car that whisks you to around 15,000 feet above sea level. Here, you'll find the melting remnants of an ancient glacier, a sobering symbol of climate change. This glacier, once thick and expansive, has shrunk dramatically in recent decades, and it's now considered one of the most endangered in Asia. Standing on the observation platforms, surrounded by the thin, crisp air and panoramic views, it's hard not to feel both awe and urgency. The mountain's ecosystems, vary dramatically by elevation, from subtropical forests at the base to alpine meadows and tundra above the tree line. Along the way, travelers may spot rare plants like edelweiss, and if lucky, glimpse the Yunnan snub-nosed monkey or black-necked cranes. Spring and autumn bring bursts of color as wildflowers bloom and red leaves cascade through the valleys. At the foot of the mountain lies Blue Moon Valley, a stunning river basin filled with turquoise-colored pools that sparkle under the sun. The valley's name comes from the crescent-shaped reflection the water casts beneath moonlight. The Naxi people have long considered this valley a sacred place, and its beauty has inspired poems, songs, and rituals for centuries. Many visitors choose to stroll the wooden boardwalks that weave through its cascades, framed by snow-capped cliffs and lush greenery. What makes Yulong truly unique is not just its natural beauty, but its deep cultural significance. The nearby city of Lijiang, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is home to the ancient Naxi Dongba culture. Their pictographic script, shamanic traditions, and architecture offer a rare glimpse into one of China's oldest living cultures. It is said that the mountain and its waters bless the people of Lijiang, and many local festivals are still held to honor the spirits of Yulong. Whether you're a photographer chasing the perfect shot, a hiker craving alpine silence, or a cultural explorer diving into Naxi legends, Yulong Snow Mountain offers an experience that touches both the eyes and the soul. But it also serves as a fragile reminder. This extraordinary glacier is vanishing. What you see today may not be here tomorrow. So tread lightly, breathe deeply, and take in the majesty of one of China's last high-altitude wonders. At first glance, Chandel Lake appears to be a tranquil paradise, its crystal-clear waters shimmering beneath rolling green hills, dotted with more than 1,000 islands, each uniquely shaped and draped in silence. But what most visitors don't realize is that beneath this serene surface lies a secret few places on Earth can claim, an entire ancient city submerged by time. Known as China's Atlantis, the 2,000-year-old city of Xicheng was deliberately flooded during the construction of the Shinan River Dam in the 1950s, remarkably preserved by the water's oxygen-poor environment. Its stone walls, wooden beams, and intricate carvings remain intact, hidden beneath the lake's still surface like a forgotten chapter of history. Shandao, meaning Thousand Island, lives up to its name with 1,078 islands rising from its waters, some covered in dense forest, others home to temples, pagodas, and even small guest lodges. The lake spans over 573 square kilometers, making it larger than Lake Tahoe in the US. What makes this place so surreal isn't just the scale, but how each island feels like a miniature world unto itself. Some are named for their shapes: Peacock Island, Snake Island, Lock Island, while others are themed by human design, such as Love Island or Bird Paradise, a lush habitat for dozens of native species. What truly elevates Shandel Lake beyond ordinary beauty is its changing face. In early morning, mist curls off the surface like silk, and local fishermen paddle in silence aboard narrow wooden rafts, casting nets with practiced grace. The reflection of hills, clouds, and sunlight dancing across the lake transforms the scene into a living watercolor. Come sunset, the entire surface glows gold, framed by layers of forest and shadow. The lake's biodiversity is equally remarkable. Thanks to its depth and purity, Shandao is a major source of drinking water for the region and supports abundant aquatic life, including rare species of carp and freshwater shrimp. Some islands have been turned into conservation zones to protect native flora and fauna, while others serve as ecological learning centers. Culturally, Chendo Lake is more than a visual wonder. It's a symbol of modern China's balancing act between progress and preservation. The submerged city of Xicheng was once a flourishing center during the Eastern Han Dynasty. Today, it offers a haunting reminder of what was sacrificed to create the lake's current beauty, though access to the underwater ruins is limited to licensed divers and researchers. High-resolution imaging and digital reconstructions have revealed grand archways, stone lions, and intact roadways, a submerged legacy sleeping beneath the waves. Visitors can take boat tours to explore the most famous islands, hike through the surrounding hills, or cycle along the shoreline trails. One popular route winds through Meifeng Island, offering panoramic views from a skywalk platform and introducing travelers to local tea plantations, where Chandao green tea is handpicked and brewed traditionally. Every corner of the lake tells a story, some ancient, some modern, but all deeply woven into the soul of the land. Chandao Lake isn't just a scenic spot. It's a delicate harmony of nature, memory, and wonder, where time itself seems to float gently on the water. Cradled between snow-capped mountains and the ancient city of Dali, Erhe Lake shimmers like a silver mirror stretched across the Yunnan highlands. Spanning over 150 square miles, it is one of China's largest alpine lakes and an essential lifeline for the Bai people who have called this region home for centuries. The name Erhe means ear sea due to its ear-like shape, and it's not just a poetic coincidence. This lake holds deep cultural, ecological, and spiritual significance. At sunrise, a golden mist hovers above the water's surface, and traditional fishing boats drift silently through the light. It's one of the rare places where time seems to stretch, and the rhythm of daily life flows with nature. For the Bai people, the lake is more than just a body of water. It is a sacred symbol of harmony and abundance. Their villages dot the shoreline, filled with whitewashed houses, stone bridges, and intricate wood carvings that reflect centuries of craftsmanship. While Erhe's natural beauty is obvious, its ecological value is just as profound. The lake sits at an elevation of around 6,000 feet and is fed by numerous mountain streams, creating a unique highland wetland ecosystem. It supports a diversity of aquatic plants and fish species, some of which are found nowhere else. In recent years, environmental conservation efforts have been launched to protect the lake from pollution and overdevelopment, a necessary step to ensure its beauty endures for future generations. What makes Erhe so mesmerizing isn't just its scale, but its ability to reflect everything around it: clouds, temples, the city of Dali itself, with crystal clarity. When the winds calm, the surface turns to glass. During clear afternoons, the surrounding Kangshan Mountains are mirrored so perfectly in the water that it feels as if the sky has doubled. Along the shores, photographers and nature lovers find countless vantage points to capture its ever-changing moods. One of the most charming ways to explore Urhe is by cycling the 115-kilometer loop that winds around the lake. The route passes through terraced rice fields, sleepy fishing villages, and cultural heritage sites like the 3 pagodas of Chongsheng Temple. This temple complex, dating back to the Tang Dynasty, stands as a sentinel on the western shore, reminding visitors of the region's ancient Buddhist roots. Locals still maintain traditional customs like the Bai March Street Festival, where music, trade, and prayers blend together under the shadow of the mountains. During these festivals, it's common to see dragon boat races or fishermen casting circular nets from wooden rafts, skills passed down from their ancestors. Another highlight lies beneath the lake's surface. Archaeological discoveries have revealed that Urhe was once surrounded by Neolithic settlements, indicating human presence dating back over 3,000 years. Artifacts found along the banks, pottery shards, tools, and bones, hint at a civilization that depended on the lake for survival and spiritual meaning. As a visitor, standing on the edge of Urhe Lake, you don't just see a pretty landscape. You witness a living tapestry of culture, history, ecology, and belief. The lake doesn't shout for attention. It whispers through wind in the reeds, through the quiet paddling of a fisherman's oar, through the distant toll of a temple bell. And if you listen closely, it tells the story of Yunnan's soul, written in water and light. Rising above the misty forests of Zhejiang province, Tiantai Mountain is not just a scenic retreat, but a profound cradle of Chinese spirituality and culture. With a history that spans over 1,400 years, this sacred mountain holds a revered place in both Buddhism and Taoism. Monks have walked its ancient stone paths for centuries, meditating in serene cliffside temples such as Goking Temple, widely regarded as the birthplace of the Tiantai Buddhist school. This temple, originally built during the Sui dynasty, still echoes with chants and the rustle of pine trees, offering visitors a glimpse into the philosophical depth and peaceful practices that shaped Eastern thought. But Tiantai's allure goes beyond religion. Its landscape is a masterpiece of natural harmony. Cascading waterfalls tumble through emerald valleys, and cloud-wrapped peaks rise like brushstrokes from a scroll painting. The name Tiantai literally means heavenly platform, and it lives up to that title. Standing on its high ridges where mist curls around your feet, you feel as though the mountain itself is suspended between earth and sky. Unlike many tourist-heavy destinations, Tiantai retains a deep sense of stillness. The mountain trails wind through groves of ancient trees, some over 1,000 years old, and are dotted with small shrines, tea houses, and calligraphy carved into stone. During spring, the forested paths are awash with cherry blossoms and mountain azaleas, adding a dreamlike touch to the pilgrimage experience. One of the most fascinating aspects of Tiantai Mountain is its connection to the concept of three teachings. In one, the harmonious coexistence of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. This fusion is reflected not only in the architecture and spiritual practices, but also in the daily life of the local community. Farmers still grow herbs used in traditional medicine, and calligraphers gather in temple courtyards to practice their art, blending devotion with creativity. Visitors often find the spiritual climb to be as impactful as the physical one. As you ascend the mountain, each viewpoint reveals a different layer of meaning, cultural, natural, and emotional. Whether it's the echo of a monk's chant drifting through the pine-scented air, or the golden light of dawn spilling across temple rooftops, Tiantai Mountain invites a kind of inner stillness rarely found in modern life. While it may not be as well known internationally as other sacred peaks in China, Tiantai Mountain quietly leaves a lasting impression. It is not just a place you visit, it's a place you feel. A mountain that speaks in silence and stone, carrying the wisdom of centuries in every breeze.